Yeah, y'all know what that means. It's time for our Power Book 2 Ghost review tonight. Nigerian Lucas here, and we are going to be covering episode 3, Play the Game. This episode was kind of crazy, and I already know when it comes down to the things I want to talk about, I'm going to be bouncing all around with this one. But before we get started tonight, Lucas, how's it going, brother?
Man, listen. I love the point that Stars releases these episodes at midnight. But if somebody would like to release it at 10 o'clock, I will not personally be mad at you
at all.
You decide to do that. That's all I got to say. I'm ready to get into it. I mean, again, luckily this is a show good enough to keep me up and keep me drinking past 120. Like, this is almost last call for every club in this area.
No lie there. Before we actually talk about the episode, Power has been doing good numbers. We've talked a lot about P-Valley doing really substantial numbers in subscribers and viewerships, and Power Book 2 has also exceeded that. So Stars is definitely putting out good material. And just hats off to them. But we're not going to spend too much time on that. We just want to make sure we give our hats that, they're absolutely rocking in all the numbers, but especially when you're considering the streaming services war. Like, Stars is definitely showing their worth here again. But yeah, let's talk about episode 3. Now, instantly, first thing with this episode, Tariq was the first one we heard his voice previously on Ghost. So a little bit of a change there. Last week, I think it was Monet, and it was previously on Power.
No, she said previously on Ghost too.
Okay.
I rewatched it. Like, it's. I'm wondering are they switching up characters based on who the focal point they feel of the episode should be on? That would be pretty dope.
That's exactly where I was going at with that. So we'll see if that's what they're going to end up doing. That would be pretty cool. But yeah. But let's get into this. So the first thing we get to see is Drew, and I don't know why I'm about to call him Bishop, because Bishop is the other dude name. But Drew and Kane, they're the tax collectors. Hey. They are the tax collectors. So if obviously the movie, a lot of people may have seen, but a tax collector is pretty much a group of people who make sure that all the organizations in the city is tipping from what they're making, but also keeping peace amongst everybody. So a little bit different than what we've been seeing with Tommy in their system and in their neighboring gangs. But in Queens, it looks like everybody's on the same page, and Monet is the head of this. Monet and Lorenzo, shall we say? But yeah, they're tax collectors, so they're going around and make sure everybody's tipping and make sure everyone's staying in the territory. Everybody's, I guess, getting the product that they need. We haven't quite seen product yet, but nonetheless, by the money that's just changing hands. And I wonder if there's a strategy to that we're not actually seeing any type of drugs of any sort yet. Like, we know because it's Power.
I think because the kids wouldn't be the ones that the people who collect your money normally don't handle your work. We got to separate the two,
right?
Because you never want a situation where you can lose out on both.
Yeah.
So I think it's a different way that they're supplied the drugs. And here we just get to see that, the kids are the muscle. They're the ones who go collect for the organization. Mm-hmm. They are 2-Bit and my man, where they go collect for the organization.
Yeah. So a little bit different feel. And I like that. We're not just getting pure chaos like we've seen in Power. Because Power, people were getting knocked off left and right. I can't think of his name that wore the green, but like, within the first 3 episodes, a whole gang was done. So like, we're seeing again much more of an organizational style where everybody gets their product, everybody makes their money, everyone has their territories, but you got to tip out because on the head of everything is Lorenzo and Monet. And we get to see Kane and Drew. They collect to make sure everything is copacetic. So that's cool.
And we get to see their differences. And early on in this episode, when they show them collecting, we get to see the complete difference between them two.
I don't want to draw too many similarities to the movie Tax Collector, but this dynamic seems to be something that is common, shall I say. You do have the crazy wild shooter, and then you have more of the rational mental compass that says, like, but we got to make sure we keep the peace because we got to keep the money. No reason to strike fear because Monet and Lorenzo, they strike fear wherever they go. And as soon as you show up, they automatically know what it is. So, yeah, like you said, totally two different complex between, the two brothers. But overall, we're seeing a totally different RAND system from what we've seen traditionally in Power. So pretty cool. Now, first thing I want to throw to you before we actually really get into this is when we're getting into the legal system here. Tasha being put on the stand. Now, you've seen the episode, but initially that was the idea. What was your instant thought of putting Tasha on the stand? Good or bad here?
Extremely bad. Extremely bad. I love the way they set this up because I thought that's the way it would actually go. So, I'll be getting into this part right now. So for me to say it.
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So when they first show it and they first just show Meth's character questioning her, the first thing that popped in my head was, well, you do a mock trial, you have to have the other side like really grill her because you need to get everything out of your way. So when my girl came in still looking fly than ever since
Tamika, man, I'm loving Tamika. Man, I'm loving it.
Man, looking fly than ever since leaving the DA office. But when they brought her in to question Tasha, I said that's perfect. One, you have to bring someone in who knows the case upside down and who could grill her on every possible question. I thought Tasha taking the stand would have been, again, they always say you never take the stand. Like ever. If you ever get arrested and for a murder charge or anything, or a queen pin charge like Tasha is, you don't take the stand because anyone can twist your words and then your emotions get involved. And that's what we saw what happened with Tasha. Her emotions got involved. Tamika knew certain points to hit. She knew if I bring up Raina, it's going to hurt you. If I bring up the point that Ghost had moved on, it's going to hurt you. And all it is for you to look bad towards the jury. So I while the setup was very smart to do, this should tell her she has an excellent lawyer, that he would even want to set up a mock trial before allowing her to take the stand to testify. But afterwards, it should show her exactly why he said, no, you can't take the stand.
Or, I mean, he could just be, one of those mechanics at, what do you call it, at Jiffy Lube, where you just go in there for an oil change and you leave out and they're just like, hey, you need this, and that, because we all know that mock trials cost a hell of a lot of money. Hey, and he is ready to run up the tab right now. So,
said, and they costing you every hour. I said, damn. hey, so it is necessary. If you're going to fight the charges that again, this is part of them playing the legal system and playing it right. You're going to fight this type of charge. The only thing I had questions about is I'm not sure how often you can get out of prison for a mock trial. Not sure about that part of
definitely
it.
New to me on that.
I know about mock trials amazingly. Once upon a time in school, I was on the mock law team, so I fully understand all of how you set up a mock trial. I just don't believe someone with her charges could just easily get out.
Like
in a mock trial.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree with that. I mean, I don't know too much about the law, but I do know that like that made me raise my eyebrows. Like, okay, this is definitely new for me as a consumer of television. Like this concept is new, but it also is very alarming to me because this doesn't seem like a thing that happens. Like even if it is common or whatever it may be, because it just really comes off like
the state would have to pay their workers to transport you. That's again, I don't know. Maybe in certain jurisdictions, maybe New York may be different than other places. So I think, but from my knowledge, I have never seen a defendant get out of prison for a mock trial.
Not at all, especially with her, the like you said, with the charges with her. Anybody in the comments, definitely let us know. Is this something familiar that you're familiar with? Have you seen this before or in real life or even in television? Because like to me, it definitely was like, okay, this is different. But at the same time, I was intrigued because I was like, okay, I haven't seen this. So let's see how this is executed. And we've both been saying for the first 3 episodes now that they're taking a different approach to the law side of power. And this one feels a little bit more legitimate. It's not rushed. And I also think what's cool about this is that when you think about cases, you always want to get to like the really hot and juicy part. So the fact that we are getting a mock trial of what Tasha will have to go through, that means we don't have to go through this again. They nailed the good part already.
Give it to me up front. Why make me wait for the juiciness of seeing her take the stand? And I think that's, from a writer and producer standpoint, that's a beautiful move to do, and not make your audience wait to the last 2 episodes of the season and you finally get to see her do all of this stuff. By the time we get there, she would be prepped if she had to take the stand.
Yeah. Okay. So the most important thing that we got from this is that Tasha also admitted, because I felt like this was the most important thing that happened in this entire episode, is that we got to learn what 19-year-old Tasha was doing. We knew she was an accountant, but we didn't know. But maybe we did know that she was an inspiring artist. So we finally figured out what happened to 3LW. Ghost killed it.
Oh, shucks. So Kelly Williams was right this whole time.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you.
So they didn't kick her out of 3LW. She left 3LW for Ghost. That's what that
was. He got sick and tired of them broken promises, and he was like, still.
Oh man, the moment she said, and I was an aspiring singer, I said,
I was like, oh, really tell the tea here. Like, okay. Yeah. It is funny because I swear to God, the cinematography probably really gave her that ISO shot there, and they were probably like, no, bro, edit that, because that just seems like a mockery to me. Like they I'm pretty sure the original shot was probably, once she said that, they probably just kept it on her for a second. But as you can see, it wasn't a panning shot, it was like a half pan and the next person. I was just like, they was like, go ahead and get that out of there real quick. Oh man, what would I pay to see a 3LW reunion just one more time?
Absolutely.
Dude, you know what else about like this whole mock trial thing that really hit me? So we did get Tasha with the glow up real quick, right? Which was like dope because like we haven't got to see the Tasha we know. So like, you know, that feel as as fans, it's just like, oh, here's the Tasha we're accustomed to seeing. But then the thing that occurred to me is that, could you imagine that being a real life scenario where you get the glow up, feel good, be back to yourself, and then they're like, hey bro, now go ahead and put this orange back on real quick.
Welcome to what happens in big high profile cases. When you get the defendant who, whether it's male or female, they get dressed to the nines. They do everything up because you can't go in the courtroom looking guilty. That's rule number 1. So they'll make you all the way up, but when that time is over, all that shit gets stripped back off, and you get right back into that orange jumpsuit or brown or blue, depending on where you're staying at.
Yeah,
like it has to be a truly surreal moment, because when you're getting made up or when you're getting dressed up, it gotta feel normal to you, because this is something I do every day. I'm so used to looking this way. And that's the feel I had with Tasha when she was standing in front of the mirror and she was playing with her hair. It was like, this is me. Like, I feel at home. Because whenever we see her in the prison, or even when we saw her walking towards the courtroom, she didn't feel like herself when she kept on saying, I can't feel just like this. Like not like this. Like, she was so nervous because she don't want the image of her prison image to become the image that everyone takes away from her.
Yeah,
she needs to still be St. Patrick, Tasha St. Patrick.
That
hair, the nails, the everything. The other girl is Tasha Green.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
That's a key point, because that's very, very synonymous with James in his court attire of James, the political icon, the club mogul that he is. That at one point where he was going through all that court stuff, that was almost his image. And it was their whole scheme to make sure that no one realized that that's who he was. And that's why they built so much on the family aspect of who they were. That's where Tasha played the part for him too. So she knows that feeling, like really, the character knows that feeling genuine, that it's alarming to her that she does not want that look to be there. So coming back to who she is and hearing about, like when they start talking about like how the money and all that other stuff, you can tell like the character was looking like, yeah, that's what I'm used to. That's my life, and then they instantly go to, well, how are you having that life? So, but on that note too, like Tamika on Cross, like you said, was the absolute right thing to do.
Yes.
to do. But I got to tell you, man, when Tamika got up there, first of all, a strong performance by. Let me actually get her name really quick. Who plays Tamika? Because
we just been calling her for Tamika for like last two seasons.
Yeah, I gotta put a little bit of respect on that one really quick. It's like, yeah. So Quincy Tyler Bernstein is her name.
Jesus, that's a name.
Yeah, that is the name. I will definitely remember that for the company. What a performance by her in this.
QTV.
Yeah, QTV. We'll go with that. Yeah, strong performance here. But I gotta say, like, I don't know the law to the T, as I said, but I know a steak when it's well done when I see one. And that was Tasha on the steak. So somebody said medium well, and Tamika was like, I'm leaving this bitch on this joint till it cannot come off the grill.
The hot dogs, you go to barbecues that everybody want that's burnt to a crisp. Yeah. That was Tasha. She didn't know what to do. She just kept on hitting her. Like, yeah. It's that meme that popped into my head. I think it's a Simpson meme. They said, "Stop hitting him. He's already dead."
Oh yeah,
that's how I felt with Tasha when she was up there. Because again, it's a good prosecutor never gives you a break.
Yeah, yeah.
She knew it. She like, nope. The moment I see you on the ropes, I constantly go. I was waiting for the Law and Order music to start playing. Oh. And she was hitting Tasha, like, because she kept on hitting her things that she could answer. And as a defendant, when you pause the way Tasha was pausing, you're guilty.
That's it.
And that's all the jury sees is that you're guilty.
Yep, absolutely. I will say too, like, so when Davis McCain brings up the idea that they need Tamika, which I thought was really dope, because like, I think, like me, I said, like, okay, having Tamika is definitely an asset, but needing Tamika, the verbiage there speaks volume. But this is what caught me off guard, and I'm definitely curious to know what your take on this. Is that when they said that this case is not about Tasha, but it's about Saxe? What is happening here? What is happening?
It goes back again when Davis pulls up and says, well, why were you defending Saxe? And Tamika paused. Same thing with Tasha. He had her on the ropes the moment he said it, and he saw it. And to him, the moment he sees that, he's wondering, well, if we can prove why you were defending Saxe, we can connect this to this queen pin charge. And then the other part that the audience knows, that Cooper Saxe was technically at truth the night that Ghost was shot. You put a couple of dots together, then Cooper Saxe will become the primary suspect.
And that'll be an easy case because his addiction and obsession with James St. Patrick
constantly was going after James over and over again. So then you can't tell someone you think Tasha's the queen pin the amount of times you went after Ghost. At this point, it should be on record everywhere. Everybody that Ghost was running this that James St. Patrick was running this organization.
Yeah,
and it's going to be very interesting when we get to the court proceedings and we see him eventually start attacking Saxe.
I just realized that if John Mock, who just got back, somehow gets fired again because him bringing back Saxe, like he has got to be the biggest donation of a character on the Hall of Power. Like he just gets back, he gives Saxe another chance, and all of a sudden it's going to blow up in his face again. Because like there's a strong potential, especially with like some of the unethical practices that they had in the past, that this can all blow up in their face. Like I can't really piece it all together now, but like there's a lot of intrigue on like how this legal side of Power Book 2 is going right now.
Rodriguez take that stand, it's over for Saxe.
I am.
She can feel everything. She knows exactly everything crooked Saxe did. She knows. Yeah. She takes that stand, it's over. Yeah. And I think that's what's going to happen at Tasha's trial. That's why right now, that to me is the most anticipated.
That's why you don't need Tasha to testify then, because that won't be the beef of it. Tasha testifying will overshadow every other important thing that happens in that trial, because she's the most excited. That's why you do the mock trial now. No, I mean, that's why you do the mock trial scene now, because yes, the mock trial makes sense for the story, but the Tasha part of the trial would just completely overshadow every bit of the overall story of this series. So like you're on to something to that. I already I got to give you a hats to that. That's absolutely what I think is going to happen. Like I said, we're gonna be all over the place for this episode. Let's go back to. So I got two things about this episode. Number one, we're gonna talk about Monet and Lorenzo and the family. What's the last name? What's the last name? Tadeha.
I will never know how to pronounce it. I'm not even gonna try.
We'll get to that. Nonetheless, this episode truly is about people with loose lips. I swear to God, I have not seen so many really confidential conversations happening in plain sight. Tasha coming in court talking about, what is this about? Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, even if we didn't know it was a mock trial then, but even the idea is like, Tasha, you're like super hot about everything that y'all talking about right now. Monet and Diana having a conversation about their dad and what daddy's business, like four or five times in this episode. Just like, are y'all not going to like do this like privately? You're like, and I get it for the show purposes, but it's still, to me, it's just like, it still comes off straight up obvious and plain sight that you're just having these high level conversations just everywhere. Because we didn't get that before. I mean, this is really where Ghost's voice came from, is the idea of him and Tommy always.
That Ghost whispered everything.
The Ghost whisper, exactly.
Whole conversations in that. Shut the fuck up. Like whole conversation that way. Monet is extremely loud. Ain't no secrets.
Yeah. So like, I just, I just felt like this episode was just a lot of like just loose lips of just saying, if you got something to say, don't say it in public. Say it wherever you want. So, exactly.
and I see she does not like her kids just sitting around doing nothing.
Oh, clearly. I mean,
she got mad every time she saw it. And it was like, what the fuck are y'all doing? I'm like, damn, every time. What the fuck are y'all doing?
I mean, I'll come back to it in a second, but like Monet and Mary J. Blige Monet, the character, she's giving me angry black woman all day, every day. Yep. I mean, I gotta go. I mean, like, I'll just say it now. At the press conference for Zeke, when she was clapping all out, looking at her, I was like, yeah, you're gonna be back in the game. I was like, yeah, and I know that type of person all day, every day. Like, she was just so absurd, but such a fan of his. Like, it's just like, but also giving off endless shade. Like, I wonder where that's gonna go. But like, although her being really supportive of him, she's just like clearly making the scene wherever she go. And that's really the premise of everything I'm saying, is that there's nothing low key about this whole family at all. Everything they do is completely on display. Kane with the shots off and the cops automatically come.
When he did it, I'm like, what was the point?
Nothing.
What was the point?
Nothing.
You're in a den full of dealers, and then you decide that I'm gonna shoot my one. You're in a den full of dealers. You telling me no one has a gun? No one? Like, he just started busting off and no one else has a gun? No one else is going to take that as a threat? And then he bust off, not shoot nobody, and then run out.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I think it showed, that part of it actually shows, again, the issues with Kane ever being a leader.
Yeah, I mean, and I want you to like really premise that correct. It's not just the idea of Kane not being the leader. It's that no one has faith in him because they understand that he Yeah, he's a hothead and he's irrational. He's unpredictable. So it comes down to Lorenzo and Monet, and quite frankly, the whole family is dysfunctional. Because when it comes down to the chain of order, who do you follow?
Do you follow the dad who thinks he still runs everything, or the mom on the outside who is running everything? And if they're not on the same page, it sends a huge sign of confusion to the
kids. Exactly. That's where, you know, we see Diana, who completely puts on display about it being dysfunctional, because she's like, well, my mom said I can't go to school, so I'm gonna go ask my dad. And he's like, yeah. And I feel like that's a traditional style of
family right there. That's that. Hey, you play the parents against each other to get whatever you think you need to get. And that's what she was attempting to do there. I think it brought up some very interesting points by Lorenzo when he's pinpointing the issues with the kids, and from Monet being out on the outside, she believes she knows the kids better, but yet he's pinpointing their traits, and that tends to tell you more than you just knowing somebody. For him to know, like, Kane can't do it. Kane is a hothead. No, Diana, you have her too far under your thumb for her to do anything.
Right.
Like, it has to be him. He has no choice. But then we're saying he's the softer one out of all three of the kids, it seems like.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. He's the overthinker. He believes violence is the last option.
Yeah.
Which is a great trait for a leader. But whenever you think violence is the last option, it still has to be an option.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where the issue became when he refused to pull his gun. The moment he knocked the phone out of main man's hands is when he should have pulled his gun.
Exactly.
Because at that point, you are testing me, and I need to put you back in order.
Yeah, look, the Tejada family, to pronounce that correctly, is definitely in shambles. And I think that beyond us seeing trouble in paradise internally, I am wondering if other people are going to take heed to this. I mean, again, you know, when it went to the GTG, and at first I thought it was TGT, and I was just like, oh no,
Tank Junior Wine and Tyrese.
I know. I was like, oh no. But when they went to the GTG spot, and instantly what was his name? Little something. God, it's so common too.
I was about to call that dude Little Fizz. I know it was Little Fizz.
It's little something. But when he said something about, like, he disrespected Monet. So clearly,
Monet, she didn't like him, and then he said, well, maybe she wouldn't be that way if she hadn't dick in 10 years.
Yep. So clearly she don't have power by her own. Like,
she said
not
it,
just power
in the first episode.
Yeah.
She said it. His name carries so much weight.
Yep. And I think that, you know, we've seen, you know, organizations where, you know, there's an A and then a woman is like right under. I mean, I can't think of no one's name right now. Thank you. I did not want to struggle with that one. Thank you.
Who was exactly just like that with brother. But if you notice what I have seen so far, and I could be wrong because it's early on in this season, but Kane is Monet. They are hotheads, both of them. And that's the problem.
I would say there's one major difference, though, is that Monet is power hungry. Kane plays the part. He said, I'll go do my thing and I'm good. Once he collects, then he was ready to kick back.
But think about it, though. When it came to who was going to approach them, Kane was like, oh, already know what's got to happen. See, he's not power hungry towards his mother because he's his mother's son.
He likes to instate his dominance in wherever he goes.
Yes.
And on top of that,
it's just like Monet. She's the exact same way.
Okay.
The exact same way.
I like that because like mother, like son. I like that.
And that's why she's pushing for Lorenzo to say Kane should run the organization. Because if you see, it's always Kane is built for this life. Kane is, and he's like, no, he's a hothead. And he's just like you. I think she sees it as he's just like her. And if he takes over, who takes over? If Kane takes over the organization, Monet's in charge of the organization. No difference.
Yeah, and
maybe
then
other two take over. That's not going to be the case.
And you know what's crazy? Lorenzo's pretty much writing everybody off. He says, like, look, Drew's going to be the one to run the organization. Diane's going to go to school. That leaves Monet somewhere because Monet won't be running because Diane is supposed to be the one to succeed her. So that leaves Monet nowhere, and that just leaves.
This wasn't your job. This is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. That again, it's trouble in paradise with the Tadeha family. Mm-hmm. It's very dysfunctional.
Along with her messing with a cop.
And you know what's crazy? That 3 episodes in, that's completely contradictory to what we've seen the first 2 episodes, because they sold us a dream with the whole, like, we do family and this is the structure. And although he's in jail, I'm running it. Well, that's not really true because no one respects Monet on the streets. As we've seen, Monet still has to answer to Lorenzo. And even when she doesn't try to, Lorenzo's not a hothead. Lorenzo's like, okay, you disobeyed me, cool, but don't do it again. And that's I mean, for the person that's running both in and outside of jail, because he got Bishop running his stuff in jail, which I'm pretty confused. I guess Bishop is like a facilities person in there. So
I'm assuming so. I am so confused right now.
My man was working on the cameras with a cell phone, which I know from Adam and Eve that no one's carrying a cell phone inside of jail. Like that's just
not a chance in hell.
That was confused. Yeah. I was like, yeah, this is a bad Photoshop edit. Like, no way this dude has a phone in jail right now. Like, it doesn't make sense, but whatever. But I think too, what else talking about the family is the Kane and Drew dynamic. We're seeing 2 different styles, as we said, but it's very, very, it's I would say coincidental that they both checked each other the same way in 2 different dynamics in this episode. We seen earlier with the tax collector style of them getting ready to beat up the dude that didn't have the money, and Drew was like, "Hey, let's just go," right?
Mm-hmm.
We seen it at the GTG spot, and Drew is ready to do something, and Kane's like, "Let's just go." So they both have receipts on each other with 2 different styles.
Kane said, "Let's just go," and then shot up the club.
Yeah, exactly. Which
made no sense if you're saying let's just go. Because if you're going to shoot up the club, we could have just shot him and got it over with.
Yeah, exactly. So there's gonna be a lot, and this is why I like this show, because like even with looking at the preview for next week, there's so much that's about to happen. But yet, as we're breaking it down, there's so many different dynamics happening here. And it's not just all leading to who dies, as most people like to just only think about, but it actually comes down to like, how does this resolve? Like, what's truly, the relationship between these characters, Drew and Kane? That could be interesting because we've seen them all both on the same page and in their roles, but now you got the dad trying to say Drew is the next successor, and you got the mom saying, well, Kane's the next successor. Well, I don't know. I mean,
I think that leads out the power structure of the family of who gets their way. Is it going to be Monet or Lorenzo?
I was just gonna say, no matter if you know anything about world history or anything, we all heard it from any story. Anytime 2 brothers have their claims to the throne, there's always an issue.
Yes. Always.
So, or, maybe like Marvel, there's Thor and Loki. And, at one point, the father says Thor will be the next king of Asgard. And Loki's like, oh, no, fuck this dude.
nigga, you tripping. What you mean?
Oh, look, here's what's really interesting about this. With Monet being out and Monet pushing it, Drew comes off as the humble person. And he just, he just does what he does. We may see a whole different side of Drew by the end of this series because of this.
You see how heated he was that Kane even showed up.
Oh, yeah. And Drew, as you see in the preview, makes a visit to Tariq, which we already said last episode was interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk. I need to see that dynamic a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows what's we'll talk about that next week, but like that,
we also get to see, which is more interesting to me, between this book 2 and book 1, because I'm gonna call the first one book 1. Book 2 and book 1. The biggest difference is the big drug dealer won one of his kids nowhere around that business, and the other one wants his kids to run the business. It's a completely different dynamic between Ghost fought hard for Tariq to be nowhere near the drug dealing business. In turn, Lorenzo and Monet are fighting hard for one of them to succeed. And yet, the drug dealer who tried to keep his son away from it damn near groomed the perfect drug dealer. and the two who are fighting for one of their sons to take over have two people that really combined will make a great person, but separately they're not good at this at all.
This is true. This is very true. Yeah. You know, speaking of Tariq and his IQ in this episode, speaking about Socrates and everything, that was a very interesting educational moment of this series. Although I didn't totally grasp everything because I, again, have not read the book, I love the idea of, first of all, I love that class structure from being in classes like that. So that was really refreshing. But like beyond my ignorance to this novel, it's interesting that we're seeing Tariq with more confidence. That's all I got from this. Tariq has always been, again, as we said, the person who's answering to this person, asking for this work, careless, and that regardless of his reflection being right or wrong, whatever your perception may be, he's confident, and that's powerful. And that's also, as we said, very intimidating to folks. As a black man who's confident and very self-righteous in his thoughts, that is as dangerous as him having a gun in that classroom right there.
Like, he was very intimidating to his classmates.
Oh yeah,
very intimidating to them because they're looking at him like, you challenge him. Like it felt horrible to hear the other young lady who's pursuing Tariq say, "You just need to fall in line."
Yeah, but it's the truth.
See,
it is the truth. It's the truth it's common.
I personally have issues with falling in line. When I was in college,
no. I'm not saying falling in line is an issue. I'm saying that dynamic is truthful.
Okay,
it is,
yeah. But you got to break people out of it. And I think, while I still think Professor Reynolds is a true hater of Tariq.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Can I correct you real quick? He is a true nigga. Period. Not even letting that slide. Letting that slide.
But I understood why he gave him the incomplete. Yes, because in all honesty, if I was in that situation with a student and I saw them confront the professor the way he did, and then you turned in something to me where you conform to everything the professor said, because even Tariq admitted it. Like, I gave him what he wanted. No, that's not the answer. When you're in those type of classes where the goal is for you to challenge people, I'm not going to let you then give me some paper that you thought that professor wanted to hear. Where's your voice? Where's your opinion? I literally had so many teachers tell me that. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Tell me your actual opinion. I think that was a great moment. Granted, he is still a hater towards Tariq, but that moment he was being truthful to him. I did like as a black man, we gotta, because you ain't for all that, because you don't really like it.
Thank you. That's where I'm at with the same energy.
As it pertains to the paper, he's 100% right. Don't turn in something that you think like what everyone else is doing, because that's what it was. Tariq decided to do what everyone else is doing. But if you're going to do that, then you can't voice your opinion. You need to always fall in line.
Dude's a hater. Dude's a gatekeeper. And all this black people stance and this whole big, whatever of him trying to, be righteous within that. All of it just comes off disingenuous to me. I do agree with what you're saying, because I feel like what he's saying does have weight in real life, but this character saying it is like,
hey man, that's a perfect professor. You ain't never had. I know you've had bad. I've had bad professors. I know you had bad professors that contradicted themselves in every way, shape, form, or fashion.
Well, okay. Well, I'll just say this though, like, I know, because we get to see the professor and the personal side of things, that
it's throwing you off a little bit more.
For sure. The whole thing with the kid, it's just like, bro, you're literally always just a nigga to me, because like you don't understand what's professional and your personal, and you just mixing it all together. We seen it with what's her name? Carrie, thank you. And then now you got this other little person, and then Tariq, you just personally
his grad student.
Yeah,
grad student.
Exactly.
Fucking your grad student is wrong.
Now,
no.
I need to say this before I forget. Is there any chance? Okay, first of all, hold on. I want to make sure I get all these thoughts out real quick. Number one, Professor Reynolds is a hater, just flat out again. And he comes off as just a typical nigga to me. But also, too, how many sex scenes is he gonna get?
Hey,
he's 2 for 3 now.
He's the new ghost. They're gonna give him. They're gonna give him one every week. It looks like.
Star sat him in the chair, and they was just like, "Bro, we got 8. We got 8 for you. What you want?" He was like, "I ain't trying to see press, so I'll take 7."
Exactly. Like, hey, Tariq can't have sex. Drew can't have sex.
Dude, we're this close. We're this close to Monet. We're this close.
They ain't gonna get one. You saw they teased it.
Yeah,
and they get some. You ain't getting Mary Jane said.
Real talk. If you think, because I think the sex scene is coming. What episode do you think is happening in?
If one happened, it wouldn't happen to like 6.
I was like, well, I'm 7 on that.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen until like episode 6. But I don't see it ever happening.
Yeah, especially how they handled. Especially how they handled this. They definitely handled this one as like this already went down. Sorry you blinked.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Very like, nah, I ain't doing all that on camera.
So, but like, you know what else was interesting? Carrie, who's obviously going through therapy because it is basically sitting in her office like the college roommate. When your college roommate is in the dorm doing your thing, you're just like, yeah, I'm here, but
she's in there trying her hardest to focus on her computer.
Hey, but that therapy's working because she had all control of her emotions. She said, I'm out of here. She already knew what was up and did nothing. I think that there will be a form of retaliation coming.
100% so.
And my man Tariq in the gym right now. He warming up, bro. It's coming. It is coming.
She's not fucking Tariq, yeah.
Oh, all right.
She has more force than that. I think she sees.
Do she?
Great. I think so. I think she just sees something in Tariq.
I
think that's more. She may be the professor who overly cares.
Yeah. Okay.
She may see something great in Tariq, and she wants to nurture that.
Next episode, Tariq getting it in. That's my bet on that. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that Tariq, because we've seen Tariq send that other girl to that dude dorm, any chance Tariq sent this other girl to Professor Reynolds' office?
Nah, because that was his student. I think they established that she been flirting with him like since she became a student, and she been wanting to fuck him.
Okay.
She read a book she had no business reading. Remember he said you read Raw as a teenager?
Yeah.
And she said, I'm grown now. That's the sign right there.
Sure.
Whenever a young woman between the age of 18 and 25 say I'm grown now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair point.
I think it was just perfect time, perfect place. He missing Carrie. You see, he was blowing her phone up.
Yes, he was psycho.
Yeah. He like, I just killed your little student's dreams.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to kill you.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to tell you, it's gonna be something crazy happening. I definitely want to talk about next episode in a second, but the most important thing that we need to talk about before we end up concluding episode 3 review is Tariq and Monet. Now, Tariq has been getting rejected. He's been getting the black sheep treatment, and he's not considered family, as has been established. He's considered school, as Zeke has been told to keep school and family separate.
Yes.
Zeke does him a favor, sets up a meeting with Monet, and Tariq's like, I need product. And I loved how the conversation was handled. You know, we understand that Monet runs our organization in Queens. Doesn't seem like she touches anything. Which she's quick to say, who are you calling a criminal? Which automatically means to me that she automatically disassociates herself from any criminal activity to his peer, which means she don't have her hands on nada. Which is very interesting. We'll see how that comes full circle. But obviously, they said, look, we'll set something up. Tariq is going to, here's the thing. They're curious about how Tariq is making the money. So no one trusts him, but they got just collateral all over the place here. We know with Lorenzo in jail, with Tasha having a phone, we got to see that conversation happen. But everybody has something on everybody. But instantly, whenever you're dealing with anything illegal, there's always the threat of, if Tariq doesn't get this done, then we're going to kill him, which I think is very extreme, because it's just like, what?
That sounds about right.
I mean, it sounds traditional, but it's just like, why is it automatically?
I'm confused why they call Tasha. That didn't make sense when Monet said, well, he has a weakness. But you calling his mama to threaten him wouldn't be the weakness. The weakness would be you calling Tariq and letting them know, if you don't follow through,
I thought so too.
Your mother.
Oh,
I thought. We'll kill your mother.
I absolutely thought that too, and I was very confused. But I guess again, they're just trying to make sure. At some point, we got to have Lorenzo and Tasha meet. Also, Tasha is doing a sex scene. Would not be surprised if that's coming cool, because obviously Lorenzo got a whole hotel inside of his jail. So
Corona in his cell, not the virus, but the beer in his cell. Like, come on, man, come on.
Yeah, I didn't understand that though. Honestly, like there was no point in calling Tasha.
Yeah, I didn't understand that part at all. It didn't really make sense to threaten him to her.
Right.
It should have been the other way around.
So yeah, I'm gonna draw this correctly now. So we have the Tedeja family, we have Lorenzo in jail, we have Monet out, and Tariq wants to get product from Monet. Monet confirms with Lorenzo, and they both are just like, well, can you trust him? Both people say no. Then they say, but we got leverage, and if we have leverage, then we can get what we want.
You get trust. You get trust.
Yes. Right. So that gets him product, that gets them money, that puts them sort of in the family aspect of it. So that gets them closer. But again, where does Tasha come in at this? Because like you said, if it came down to it, it can be like, look, everyone knows who her husband is. It's not a secret. We've seen even when she goes to school how they're fearful of this guy. Period. So yeah, why not not go to Tariq and say, Tariq, look, you mess up, then your wife, your mom in jail, and my husband's in there, and he runs all this, right? So do your thing, or we're coming for that.
He literally, I know we don't talk about this character a lot, but he literally has a little sister that we get threatened here. And we do.
What you mean? We talked about it for 2 episodes.
I mean, but in this episode, she don't exist no more. Like
that's it.
He has a little sister to threaten. Like it didn't make any sense for the threat to go to Tasha for Tariq. It didn't make sense that way.
Yeah.
But again, maybe there's an end game to the way that threat plays out.
Yeah. I got one quick question, because I don't want to forget this real quick. Why is it that Meredith is the only moral compass in jail? Like, Lorenzo literally has the facilities people on his team. He had another cop inside the jail itself, but Meredith is the only person that isn't in the system. And we know that because when Bishop was trying to distract Meredith from speaking to Tasha, that's when you can know, like, something's up, why she's not included. So
maybe she's just not included in Lorenzo's system.
Yeah, and that's but he runs everything, it seems like, as it's being projected. I mean, of course, everybody wouldn't be, but like, it seems like he has reach on about everybody. So my point here is that we're going to have to see more about why Meredith is an outsider, or why she with the moral compass inside of there,
compass
of a holding the law.
So she did go to her first for the Plan B pill. And she knows she's fucking somebody in there. So she's not the moral compass.
True.
Lorenzo may don't
just
trust
not.
Her.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, yeah. We'll see. We'll definitely see what's up with that. You was about to say something, or is there anything else you want to talk about this episode before we talk about the preview a little bit real quick?
No, I think we touched on everything. We touched on the kids, their relationship. We touched on the difference between them and the power structures going on there. We didn't touch on the burner. I'm highly confused how Monet found out that baby girl had a separate burner. I think that's something that's going to be down the line and discussed, how she found out that. That's something very weird to find out. And when she said, "Oh, how did you find out?" and she said, "I know things." Nope, that's not the answer. You're gonna have to explain how you knew that, because that's something odd for you just to know.
Yeah, agreed. That's why I overlooked it, because I was just like, "What?" Okay, moving on.
Besides that, Tariq's new living situation, something that's gonna be interesting, because then we're right back into season 5 when they were in the same dorm together.
Yeah, true. True that.
It does bring up questions of, I love the little hidden compartment, because now that helps explain how you're going to hide some of the product, because if they were just in a dorm together, that wouldn't work at all. But you're going to hide some of the product is important there. And Tariq's relationship with Zeke is highly important right now. Because again, right now it seems like Zeke is just using Tariq to do everything. But at what point do Tariq say, "No, you're doing this"?
Zeke said he back next game, so that's all that matters. So,
hey, I went to see that coach's response, because that coach did not respond that way, because he was happy that he said he's coming back.
My man said no further questions and was ready to get up out of there. He was not happy, but he showed no emotion, because he already knew when they was right there getting ready to go city girl on her.
Everybody knew she was right there.
Yeah,
she was very loudly clapping about it.
Yeah. Like I said, and again, they're too high profile right now. Like,
she got mad at G for being on Facebook or Instagram, and yet she's literally at a press conference acting
being
that
just
way.
as hot. Yep. And and even a cop said, "Y'all need to lay low." She said, "No,
I can't do that right now."
And that response also was kind of like, why can't you? What's really holding y'all that you can't take a chill?
Reynolds' organization is too big for a chill.
But the cops should be aware of this. He should
think
know.
So, right?
Yeah, but
hey, at this point, I'm more willing to. I'm waiting to see what happens when they truly find out more about Tariq. Because eventually, that who his dad really is going to have to come out.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about next week, episode 4, from the quick preview. So to sum this up, episode 3 was okay to me. I thought the other episodes was a lot more entertaining to me, but this episode was good. I mean, it wasn't bad, but
it felt like the first setup episode.
Exactly.
Where you set storylines down the road.
Exactly, because next week episode, the preview looked crazy. I seen it. I mean, I only watched it once, but Tate has made an appearance, and Tate looks scared. Looks like they got something on Tate.
I'm gonna lie. I see the point where David said something to him, and Tate just looked and shook.
Yep.
So it's going deeper into him finding out more information about Saxe.
Yep, that is true. Yep, that is true. Professor Reynolds, Tariq, and God, you made me forget homegirl's name when you kept saying the young lady. Oh my God, what is her name? The other girl. Lauren. Damn, there we go. Yeah. So Lauren seems to have a secret in some form of a relationship with Professor Reynolds. Based on this episode, hoping it ain't one of those relationships, but we'll see.
I think it may be. Clearly, he has issues.
Yeah.
So it could be. And it would help explain part of his issue with Tariq.
And Tariq is still playing the love triangle. And it's kind of weird that the girl from Power, we only seen her once. And maybe that was some form of a write-off, but like I hope not, because if so, I need to know what happened for a person who I've not seen in anything else have contractual problems.
No, she fucked Tariq over.
Yeah, but that's all?
Yeah, I think that's it. That's all it normally takes for Tariq to be like, I don't want to see you again.
I mean, we want... No. We're not going to just let that slide. She was on the phone with somebody, bro. There was something that happened that we got nothing from it. So again, from an actress that I've never seen anything else, I highly doubt there was some type of...
contractual. I just think
me neither. That's what I'm just saying. Like she has to have.
They may feel they don't need the character anymore.
Let me tell you where my feelings are coming from right now. As it stands right now, that little St. Patrick has 2 appearances. Odd Girl that Tariq had some type of love interest for mildly has 2 appearances. This should not be a thing right now at all. I need some clarification here.
Okay. Which one do you want to see?
None.
Do you want to see?
You're right.
St. Patrick, or do you want to see her?
You're right.
And little St. Patrick got to at least give me a line by episode 5. I need another line by episode 5.
Oh my god. Yeah, next week's episode looks like some crazy stuff is going to happen. Maybe we get another appearance of Yaz. Maybe not. Who knows? But
like a grander setup episode. Sometimes you do back-to-back setups, especially when you're opening up a new season that's a spinoff of an old show.
Yeah.
So you need those because these are a lot of storylines they're balancing all at once that all are super interesting. It's different when you don't have storylines that you can skip over, people don't care about. These storylines are super interesting, so it's kind of understanding why next episode looked just as crazy as this episode was.
Yep. Well, folks, that would do it for us for episode 3 of Power Book 2. Absolutely, as always, let us know in the comments. What did you think about tonight's episodes? What storylines do you see coming unfold or kind of folding or kind of coming to shape, shall I say? And ultimately, do you think that Tariq will ever get Monet's trust, as the whole family, besides Diana, seems to be suspicious of him? But we've seen that Tariq is holding his own now, making money without his mama, getting his
real key to a lot of stuff.
So yeah, it's a lot to come, but definitely let us know what was your favorite parts of this episode. And as always, stay tuned because we have our reviews for Power each and every Sunday live on YouTube. Some of the best discussion of all of Power reviews on there. So definitely check us out. Stay subscribed and let us know in the comments what you think. Thank you for watching this video, folks, and catch you all next week.